This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Yep, I knew it was going to be dark. I just realized that I had to reboot it. Every time I reboot, I have to fix my image like that. So hold on. There we go. Is that better? No, I like that. All right, there you go. Hey, thanks, Emily Flotilla. Not an armada, but a flotilla. Okay, hold on, I gotta get the chat working. I fixed that audio problem. There we go, Awesome. Yeah, so right now we got I'm going to play the press conference from today from the Indiana massacre, you know. So we'll listen to that. Thanks,
I'll
Emily.
get Chewbacca if you want me to.
Hey, Audrey, how's it going? Emily Flotilla. Yeah, so I'm going to play that. And after that, it's kind of this sensitive topic. You know, I kind of debated whether to do it like members only, or it seems like it's important, but it literally in the case that we were discussing last night. Hold on a second. Let me open up the window. Yeah, in the Gail Barris case, the person that semen was identified in her was the guy named I think it's God. Now I can't even remember his freaking first name. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. My brain isn't working. Roger Allen Plato. Okay, I have this coach in high school with the last name of Plato. I didn't want to accidentally say his name. So Roger Allen Plato, he's the one whose semen was inside of Gail, and she was murdered, right? But he also had raped a woman as well, right around that same time. And she actually is interviewed and goes through the entire, you know, all the details. You know, it's kind of hard to read it out loud, actually, but I don't know if you guys are, I'm saying this too, if you're somebody that has been a victim and you get kind of freaked out by hearing other stories like that, you might not want to watch it. But I don't know. I'd like to go over it because it really, we can actually go to Street View, see all the different spots, what was going on. I don't know what you need to do, Cindy. Yeah. Let me see. I'm just saying I'm going to be going over a woman's description of it. I gave you the heads up. You can listen, and then if you need to leave, you can leave if you want to. Okay, that's what I was saying. I don't know how to answer your question because I'm not you. Yeah. So that's what's going to be, I'm going to be going over these documents. I was given permission to do so by Jim, our guest that we had on yesterday. He sent them to me. And there's other documents. You know, it's weird too, because I actually think it's possible, like he thinks, that the Compton individual is actually the murderer. I think it's possible. But it's also interesting that Plato was in prison for 8 years. There's something pretty seriously violent that he probably did to get that kind of a sentence at 16 years old. Yep. Hey, see you later, Cindy. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. I mean, I even have the video at the beginning of the show. It's, you know, but I'm saying that I'm going to be reading her detailed description. Some of it I sort of feel uncomfortable reading, but it's kind of a little bit weird too, you know. So, anyways, right now I'm going to play. Thanks, Ashley. I'm going to play the press conference from the Indianapolis mass shooting.
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Where 7 people were shot. So here we go. You know, I'm gonna bet you $100 it's not. Oh, it's well, good. I'm glad I didn't actually finish the sentence.
You ready?
It did come out of here.
Good morning.
All right, you guys can hear that, right? All right, here we go. I'm going to turn off the... thank you, Zozo, Ashley. I'm going to turn off the Streamlabs sound effects during this. Oh, sorry. A little too soon, but here we go.
You ready? Good morning. My name is Ryan Mears. I'm the Marion County prosecutor here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And before we get started, just a reminder to everybody that the facts that are outlined in both the probable cause affidavit and the charging information are only allegations, and a person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It's been a long week, and first of all, I think it's important to thank a couple of people and acknowledge the efforts of a number of our partners. Number one, I want to thank Chief Randy Taylor, Chief Chris Bailey, Deputy Chief Kendall Adams for all of their help and support. We asked a lot of IMPD, and they made sure that they had all the resources that they needed in order for us to get this case turned around very quickly and be in a position to file charges today. So I want to thank their efforts. I also want to thank the lead investigator, Detective Winter, who has probably slept a combined 20 minutes over the last 96 hours. I want to thank our friends at the Crime Lab, who we asked a lot of, who had to test a ton of evidence and get a lot of stuff to us in a very quick time. And so I'm grateful for their assistance and help. And I also want to acknowledge Deputy Prosecutors Ross Anderson and Amy Jacobson for all of the work that they did to put us in a position to file these charges today. Taking a look at this case, this started the early morning hours on Sunday, where there was a dispute inside Raymond Child Jr.'s home. That dispute was between family members, and unfortunately that dispute resulted in violence occurring where there was multiple gunshots inside the residence. As a result of those gunshots, 5 people lost their lives inside the home. Raymond Childs Jr., Kezzie Childs, Eliza Childs, Rita Childs passed away inside that home as a result of the gun violence that occurred inside the residence, and Kira Hawkins also died as a result of gunshots that she sustained during the course of this dispute. To compound the tragedy with Miss Hawkins, she was pregnant, very pregnant at the time that this incident occurred. When officers responded to the scene, she was immediately rushed to the hospital, where they made every effort to try to save her baby. but unfortunately, as a result of the gunshot wounds that she sustained, her baby also lost its life. There was a surviving victim in this case, and that surviving victim was able to hear and see what was going on inside the residence. He heard the gunshots. He was obviously well acquainted and related to everyone inside the home. He was able to flee that residence, and as he was fleeing the residence, he too sustained multiple gunshots. The information that we have been provided leads us to believe that there is a single gunman involved in this particular case. There were 2 different firearms that were fired at the scene. There's a 9mm handgun that was recovered inside the residence, and as the investigation progressed, they also recovered a Draco firearm. The evidence that we have indicates, and we are alleging, that the person responsible for these 6 murders is Raymond Childs III. Raymond Childs is a 17-year-old juvenile. As a result of getting that information, being provided with the information, and it was alleged that Raymond Childs was responsible for this incident that occurred on Adams Street, IMPD worked very quickly and promptly to locate Mr. Childs III. They located Mr. Childs III, and during the course of that investigation, they were able to recover the 2nd firearm that was used in the commission of these homicides. Mr. Childs, as I mentioned, is 17 years old, which puts us in kind of a unique procedural posture in terms of how this case is filed and how it will proceed. Number 1, under Indiana law, if you are 17 years of age and you are accused of murder, those charges must and have to be filed in adult court. There is no option to file in juvenile court. If an individual is less than 16 years of age, it can potentially be filed in juvenile court, but because this person who is alleged to have committed these offenses is 17 years of age, this case must be filed in adult court. The charges that we have filed against Mr. Childs, 6 individual counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and 1 count of carrying a handgun without a license. The range of penalty on the 6 counts of murder, a minimum sentence of 45 years, a maximum sentence of 65 years. On the attempt murder charge, which is a level 1 felony, the minimum sentence is 20 years, and there's a maximum sentence of 40 years. And on the carrying a handgun without a license, the minimum sentence is 0 days in jail up to 1 year. As I mentioned, Mr. Childs is 17 years of age. And because he is 17 years of age, we are not permitted under Indiana law to seek the death penalty. We are not in a position to seek the death penalty due to the accused's age. However, we are in a position to potentially pursue a life without parole sentence in this case. The statutory aggravators that would allow us to potentially file a life without parole case is the fact that we have multiple victims involved in this case and that there was a pregnant woman who lost her child during the course of this incident. Those 2 statutory aggravators are sufficient for us to potentially file life without parole. I think it's important to note on the murder charges in Indiana that these charges, the minimum penalty of 45 years up to 65 years, all of these counts can be run consecutive to one another or they can be stacked on one another. It's also important to note that all of these charges can be run concurrent to one another. So our potential range of penalty as we address this particular case is a minimum sentence of 45 years should someone be found guilty up until the maximum penalty that is potentially available to this particular individual up to life without parole. Are there any questions?
Do you know what the nature of the dispute was that kind of started all this, Ryan?
It certainly appears that there was an argument between father and son that took place inside the residence. The specifics of it, I don't think we have a ton of information on. Certainly there is an allegation about staying out too late was what maybe started the initial argument and where it went from there. I think that's something we're still trying to piece together.
Is there any indication that the suspect was under the influence of drugs?
The information that we have in time doesn't indicate that, but we were not in a position to have contact with that individual until sometime later. So at this point in time, we don't have anything to suggest drug use, but it's certainly something that we'll explore.
Can you explain the logistics of filing a murder charge on an unborn child?
Yeah, so in Indiana law, so the first 5 counts of murder are your typical did knowingly kill another person. That 6th count for killing the unborn child is actually a new addition to the Indiana Code, the Indiana statute, which now says that if a person loses an unborn child during a commission of a crime, that you can move forward with a murder charge, and so that's why it's a little bit different. I think it's worded as fetus in the statute and in the charge and information, and so the allegation in that particular case is because the mom lost her life due to the gunshot wound, and we also unfortunately lost the unborn child because of the gunshot wound. That allows us to file the additional murder charge for the baby or the fetus.
What is the relationship of Sierra Hawkins to the family?
She was engaged in a relationship with one of the individuals inside the home and was pregnant with the child.
All the people were shot, you believe, with the Draco gun?
No. So there's two different firearms used during the commission of this. The 9mm that was found inside the home, and then it certainly appears as though, because the 9mm was empty when it was located inside the residence, that a second firearm was used, which was the Draco firearm.
Both those guns obviously have been recovered.
Both of those firearms have been recovered, and we've been in a position to do analysis, and the casings at the scene match with those two firearms.
All right, did Mr. Childs put up any resistance or anything, or could you describe the process in which the officers arrested and caught him?
It was without incident or issue when the officers came into contact with him.
Has he offered any kind of confession or statement?
Well, really can't get into that, and the other issue is because he is 17, he has different procedural protections in terms of when law enforcement can talk to him and how they can talk to him and who needs to be present when those conversations occur, and unfortunately I can't get into that.
How significant would you say is the surviving brother's eyewitness accounts here of what happened?
Well, it was definitely helpful in putting us in the right direction in terms of who do we need to be focusing in on. I think it's important to recognize that this case is really in its infancy. I mean, we've been working on this for 96 hours. We've already recovered the second firearm, and we're continuing to build this case. And so, I think it's important to recognize that we have a lot of things that are still outstanding that will probably make this case look a little bit different than what it looks like today, which is just the beginning of the criminal process.
Is the surviving brother, is he expected to have a full recovery?
We'll certainly hope so.
All right, I know you can't make any statements that would be considered prejudicial to the administration of justice, but what's going through your mind right now as a prosecutor, as a citizen of Marion County?
I mean, the first thing that goes through your mind is you're just heartbroken. Not only did so many people lose their lives, but you think about that family and what they were anticipating. I mean, the baby was due in a week. I've got two young kids myself, and when you think about the fact that family was preparing for the birth of a child, that was probably going to be the best day in Miss Hawkins' life, and something that she'd been looking forward to, and something that her entire family had been preparing for, and that's taken away from it. Not only is it taken away, but you're also dealing with the loss of everybody else's life. I mean, it's just, it's horrible, and I think that's your initial reaction, but then from there, then it becomes, what can we do to help? What can we do to help this family? What can we do to help build a better case? And then, what can we do to help IMP to make sure that we're building the best case possible? And that's kind of where your attention turns, because you want to make a difference in terms of not only helping that family get through this situation, but also bringing justice for the family and the community.
I know you can't get into a profession or many details of that sort, but is he remorseful at all, or has he shown? I know he didn't give any resistance.
Yeah, that's not really something that I can get into.
Did any of the family return fire?
It certainly does not appear that way.
Did you find any other firearms in the house?
No.
Just those two?
The only firearm that was located inside the residence was the 9mm handgun, and then the Draco firearm was recovered after the fact.
Does the way that he killed his family members play into your prosecution? And if so, how?
Well, yes, it certainly the nature and circumstances you always consider when you're trying to make decisions about what's the most appropriate way to proceed. I think, in a situation like this, though, it's also important to remember that we have an obligation to the family, and we need to have conversations with the family about what is appropriate for us to do, what are the next steps in terms of that calculus, in terms of, is life without parole appropriate? I mean, I think that's a conversation that you need to have with the family when they're ready to have that conversation. They've been through a lot, they've had to endure a lot, and so we want to make sure that they're in a position where they've been able to process things to the extent that they can, to tell us, hey, do is this something you'd like to see happen or not? The circumstances are beyond any of us can even comprehend, and let alone what that family has to go through.
Was he determined to execute everyone in the house?
Well, I don't know if I can necessarily use the terms that you use there, but what I will tell you is that all of the residents inside the home end up being deceased, and the one person who was outside the home sustained multiple gunshot wounds, and we've charged with attempt murder.
Throughout the process of this investigation, investigators found any sign of previous violence or disputes in the household, or any idea of the makeup of that family and how close-knit they might have been?
That's really what we're looking into right now, and that's kind of what I talked about earlier. I think the initial thing is, number one, figuring out who did this and trying to get this case filed. I think now you're building on that case and that investigation. How did we get to this point? What were the facts that led up to this? So that's kind of the secondary phase of the investigation right now, and something that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, but if you can back up a little bit, what was the argument about?
I think the argument initially started over a conversation about somebody going out or being outside the residence and spending, kind of sneaking out of the house. I think that was what initiated the dispute inside the home. Where it went from there, I think that's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah, we had heard that he'd been kicked out of the house. Is there any?
I don't think I'd go that far.
Over that, talk about the nature of that, it's an argument, I guess. We always talk about people settling their disputes without violence, that kind of thing. Given the trivial nature of this, what message do you hope the community can take from this?
Well, part of this is there's never going to be a reason to justify what happened. There's not anything that anybody's going to be able to say where you're going to say, well, that explains the loss of 6 lives. And so I think that's part of the equation. The other part of it is just we've lost enough. Enough families have experienced enough pain over issues that don't need to be settled with guns. And in particular, when you have people who are young, who are not mature, who are not responsible, and they have access to firearms, they see that as an easy way to resolve their disputes. And there has to be something in place to number one, help people resolve problems outside of that. But number two, why do we have so many guns in the hands of kids who are 17 years old?
Do you know where these guns came from yet, or were any of them legally possessed by the family?
So right now, the information would certainly indicate that those were firearms that the family owned.
You know when the suspect will make his initial?
I'm sorry?
You know when the suspect will make his initial hearing?
1 o'clock today.
Is there any thing the prosecutor's office is doing or can do in terms of helping the survivor in this case?
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be a true community effort. All of us need to rally around this individual for what they've had to endure. But yes, there are things that we can do to help with that assistance and that transition, with not only the physical pain but the emotional pain and everything that they're going through in terms of making services available. But we all need to be candid. It's going to be a long road back.
You, I'm sure, are aware of music videos that the suspect has made that talk about using guns. There are guns in the video. Any indication that the guns used in these crimes are in those videos, or what connection, if any, will that have to this prosecution?
And that's one of the many things that we're following up. It certainly appears in one of the videos that there's those firearms very strong resemblance to the firearms that were recovered and are a part of this investigation. So that's one of the many things that we are following up on right now.
When did you guys catch the suspect?
When?
Oh, I'm sorry, where?
He was at a relative's house. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Crazy. Man. I would, he just should, I think that person isn't really even a person. He's a worthless human being, unredeemable. Okay? So it's not like you go, oh, he was young and everything. I don't think he should ever be out of prison, ever. He killed 6 people, right? So to me, that means he's forfeited and it just a bullshit reason too. That means he has the propensity to kill for just almost nothing. And you can't learn to be different than that. That's just how he is. So unfortunate, but it's the way it is. Yeah, he wasted other people's lives, and then he is a waste as a human being. So it's a complete waste of time. I mean, I wish I want to build a prison that's self-sustaining so that nobody in society has to pay a nickel for these idiots. Okay, so I think it'd be cool if you made a prison that had, for example, maybe you just do, the prison's built so it has a one windmill. Okay, then it has a farm on there. It has exercise bikes that are hooked up to electrical generators, and that's the only way they get to have a light or watch TV. And basically make it so there's nothing that nobody else in society has to pay a nickel to keep somebody like that alive, right? I think that would work great. Yeah, so they want to watch TV, you got to pedal a bike for a while, build up a generator, then you can turn on the TV. Oh crap, it runs out. Hey Jim, get over there on the... Yeah, I mean, this guy here is just what, man, not the guy on the screen, but the killer. All right. So, how's everybody going? Yeah, you've missed a lot of stuff, Bonnie. How about you don't need to tell people that you missed something. Just try to catch up and follow along. It's sort of self-serving when people go, hey everybody, I've missed everything. Could you tell me? It just... Okay, just come here, be quiet, pay attention, and then once you're all caught up with what people are saying, then try to join in and have a useful part of the conversation. But so far, nada. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over a last night's case. And we're not going to go over the case again, but during the show that we did last night, the son of Gail Barris came on and we kind of went over some things, and in doing so I asked him if I could have some documents, in her own words account, the rape victim that had the 2 children, and then there's also some other documents, but I was just going to go over the ones associated with that incident. So if you're somebody that's triggered, like if you've been in an assault, well, I'm not going to use the word triggered, because I think triggered is like a term for really sort of weak-minded people that get triggered on nothing. Okay, if you get upset when there's a discussion about an assault, then I'm just letting you know now you can go do something else. Maybe if you feel like listening and if it starts bothering you, you can, turn it off, right? Because I don't really, I'm not going to say that you're getting triggered. I'm saying I think it's a valid way of feeling. When I say somebody's triggered, it means you say something really innocuous and people get bent out of shape and you're kind of wondering what the hell's going on, and they, turned it into some crazy meaning. All right. At first I had it set to where you have to click on 18 and older. Maybe they'll make it that way, but I wasn't sure how that works in terms of, can anybody even find the video when you put that on a live stream? I don't know. Haven't tried it. Yeah, but if you're somebody that's been assaulted, and reliving somebody else's assault, it might bring out a response that you didn't, want to have. I think it's like some people don't think of it like that. Some do. All right. But we are now getting close to the end of the month, so we've got to get the super chats Anybody wants to be a channel member, that kind of thing, build it up, because we're going to build up the fund for the DNA genealogy. I'm going to make that up. I'm going to put that up to 3,000 on the 31st. Okay, and then we'll donate like, I don't know, 500 probably to a charity, and then we'll end up sending that 3,000 to a charity that then will pay for the genealogy. Okay, that's kind of what we're doing. This year, I want to make a huge difference like that. Actually get things done that we can actually see. You know, we donate a lot to charity, 22,000 last year. Hey, thank you. Andrea Rogero Drum and Rita Schaefer. Is it Schaffer or Schaefer? Probably Schaefer. But I want to see, you know, wouldn't it be great? I mean, even though that one's not a crime, the 1961 hitchhiker, how amazing would that be? To just know that you helped identify that person. Oh, there we go. Andrea Rogero Drum. There we go. Very kind, very kind. Thank you. Excellent. All right, so we're gonna start. Let's see, not that one. There's these different affidavits here, and I'll just go through them individually. I actually had to. They accidentally kept her name in this document, so I took it out. So this is just the police report portion right here. All right, here we go. Affiant is, well, you know, Affiant's the guy that's making the report. He's been a police officer for 10 years and currently is a detective. On Thursday, October 20th, remember, she went missing on, let me get back out to the other file. Hold on one second. Yeah, she was missing, I believe it was the 8th, something like that. Could have been the 6th or 8th, I can't remember. We're talking about Gail. And then she was found on, I believe it was October 25th. But this incident here took place 3 or 4 days before Gail's body was found. And apparently it's the same suspect. I mean, it's 100% the same description, everything. The vehicle, anyways. So there's interesting thing. I think there's definitely. I totally agree with Jim. I think there was 2 people involved. Obviously, that one of the witnesses saw 2 people, but I think it's very possible that Plato was involved with the rape. But then the Compton individual might have actually been the killer of Gail. Okay, but right now we're going over the rape by Plato of another individual who her name doesn't show up in the documents. They've been blacked out, which is good. So I wouldn't read it if I had to read her name, I probably wouldn't do this. Okay. But it's Roger Allen Plato is the whack job. All right, so it says at 2:30 p.m. on October 20th, 1988, and that's her name right there. We'll just say Jane, went to the Michigan National Bank on Capitol Avenue Southwest near Columbia in Lakeview City. And it took me a while to actually figure out which bank it was, but I think it's right here, this bank. And I think it probably looks pretty similar. So she was in this bank, right, parking lot over there. Southwest near Columbia in Lakewood City of Battle Creek in her Blazer vehicle, with her 2 minor children. After withdrawing $50 from the automated teller machine, she returned to her vehicle and re-entered. So she went to the automatic teller, typed it in, got $50, went back to her vehicle, and then she re-entered it. At that time, a white male, described as being in his mid-20s, 5'9", 150, skinny, with reddish blonde hair down to his shoulders, close to medium cropped beard, same color as hair, very pale complexion, large tattoo on upper arm, believed to be his left arm, wearing a long coat with dirty blue jeans, brown leather belt with a gold or brass color buckle, black footwear, possibly boots. I mean, this is a very good description given to police by the victim. Black footwear, possibly boots, opened her driver's door right after she got into it, pointed a gun at her, and demanded her money. She initially refused, after which he poked the gun in her ribs and said, "This is a real gun. Give me your money." She then gave him the $50. They accidentally wrote 500 and changed it back to 50. She had just withdrawn, and 60...
Got a catch replay. Love all of the freaks. Heart.
Thanks, Linda Howe. Then she also had 60 already, so she ended up giving him 110. Let's see. The subject then ordered her and her 2 children out of the vehicle. I mean, wow, this is so crazy to me. He didn't have her slide over or something. He had them get out of the vehicle and into his vehicle, being a green Dodge pickup truck parked next to the Blazer. So here we go. What's interesting is this is so similar to so many of the murder cases that we've discussed. The ones where the car's running, or she was killed in the car, in the parking lot of a place you work. It's just like this. These barbarians, they just come right up to you. And what's so funny, you guys? I mean, what's the laughter? The Truth Sleuth one. You got your chiclets out. I haven't read anything funny yet. Although Linda Moulden Howe does have the cattle, as in cattle mutilations. And crop circles. Did you see that I showed your UFO bringing up the cow last night? Alright. You guys ready to get back to this? Alright. So the subject took, and that's her name in there, and her 2 children. So she took Jane and her 2 children on Capitol to Golden. So check this out. It's right all right here, real easy. So this is Capitol right here. So we're from right there, drove them down this road, and then this is Golden Avenue. Yeah, but it's not really even funny. It just says, "Gotta catch replay, love all the freaks." Thanks, Heidi Johnson. Oh, it's a smile. Oh, okay. I thought it was like a cheesy grin with the chiclets. I see. I don't, you know what, you guys? I don't understand the freaking emojis, right? They don't make sense to me. You look at these I look at these faces and I go, what in God's name is that face? And then somebody says, oh yeah, it's a smile. And I'm looking at it like, wow, I hope nobody ever smiles like that. It'll look like a cheerleader. You know, the fake smiles you get sometimes. Yeah, like that one Zozo just put up there. What is that one? Actually, Truth Sleuth has like the most, the hugest array, largest array of gifts I've ever seen, man. On Facebook, she always puts them on there. They're hilarious, but I mean, I think everybody has access to them. She just happens to find them. All right, so here we go. The subject took her and her 2 children south on Capitol to Golden, then east, which is exactly that way, east on Golden to Pawnee. So it was like to Pawnee, right? So right through there, and then here's Pawnee Street, right there. Then south into a field. So it was right in this area. And if you go back even to 1999, there's nothing there. Okay, so, and then we're even talking about another, I think it was like 11 years before that. So he just went right here and then drove into this field, this area here somewhere, okay? After traveling a distance in the field, the subject left the 2 children in the truck and ordered Jane at gunpoint to accompany him further into the field, where he sexually assaulted her by means of penis and vaginal penetration. I gotta see, this is all in the documents. I don't like reading this kind of crap, but I'm gonna do it. And oral penetration by subject's penis. Advised subject did, I don't even like saying that word, finished himself off. The subject then, hey, Blue just jumped up on me. You gotta go outside? Here, hold on a second. Yeah, it's just sick shit, right? The subject then drove the 3 to a city intersection where he left them and fled, was then taken to local hospital, the subject was, where evidence kit was taken. The pickup truck was described as a green Dodge with no tailgate, but a wire or cable across the bed. All right, so it sounds exactly like the pickup truck that was seen by that witness on the. Here, hold on, I gotta let the dogs out. He's running over the door. You let him out? Yeah. All right. So it's almost an exact match to the vehicle described by the witness in Gale's case. Had a metal dashboard, bare metal floorboard. I mean, what's amazing is this Jane here. She absolutely was paying attention to every single little detail. It's amazing. However, holes remaining where a radio once was located. A radio on the floor near the shifter also indicated a pack of Camel non-filter cigarettes was on the dashboard. Yeah, there isn't any new information, Killer Crimes. Don't worry about it. All right, investigation at Nancy Grace's new information is old bullshit that she pretends is meaningful. Okay. Yeah, she especially after I saw her on Dr. Oz and she didn't even know what she was looking at. Okay, if she comes up with something truly new, let me know. Okay, but when she was on Dr. Oz, she was saying, "Okay, right there." She was pointing at something completely opposite, and then she was like, Hey, guess what? That's a person behind that tree. All the crap that had been debunked for 1,000 years before she got in there. Well, not 1,000 because it wasn't that old, but for a couple of years she kept saying that. And as soon as she did that, I completely, I used to kind of like how she was kind of tough and everything. And then after she butchered that case and the Kanika Jenkins case, by the way, I completely lost all respect. Okay. So there you go. So anyways, you mind if I get back to what we were talking about? It had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Every once in a while you can pay attention to another crime. The Delphi case, the Watts case and all them. They're not the only crimes that ever happened, okay? It's the one I care about the most, but I also care about all these other ones. So try to pay attention. Sometimes on another case you might actually learn something, sort of broaden your horizons a little bit. Yeah. Just saying. So this lady here, Jane, she literally was paying attention very closely the entire time. On Saturday, October 22nd, 1988, at approximately 11:30 p.m., a truck matching the above description was seen in the driveway of 125 Spring Street. Now check this out. This is nuts. So look where 125 Spring Street is. It's right there. I mean, this guy, you just go boom, straight down this road, like that. There's the bank, right here. And then, of course, he even goes straight down that other road again, Capitol Avenue, and then down like this. I mean, this guy lived right there, basically a straight line. A truck matching the above description was seen in the driveway of 125 Spring Street, Battle Creek. Affiant, so the guy writing this. Observations of said truck revealed snow tires on the front of a design extremely similar to those left in the field. Yeah, so they actually, let me see if we're missing something here. To accompany him further. Investigation at the field. Oh, here you go. Investigation at the field revealed the truck appeared to have snow tires on the front. See, isn't that amazing? Like they were looking at she took them back out to the spot and they found tire tracks and said, okay, those are snow tires in the front of the vehicle. And then on Saturday, October 22nd at approximately 11:30, a truck matching the above description was seen in the driveway of 125 Spring Street. Affiant observations of said truck revealed snow tires on the front of the design extremely similar to that left in the field. A radio was on the floor near the shifter, and a chain was across the bed in the back with no tailgate. All the stuff that the lady said. Jane. Let's see. Affiant spoke with Detective Al Tolf of the Battle Creek City Police Department, who interviewed Wanda Dice, who lives with a subject by the name of Roger Plato. So there you go. They interviewed this person named, I think it was Wanda, right there, Dice, who lives with a subject by the name of Roger Plato at 125 Spring Street. She indicated Roger Plato owns the truck in the driveway, and that on Thursday, October 20th, 1988, he left with the truck at noon and returned around but a little after 3 o'clock. So that's crazy, right? So that means, like, I mean, this guy was toast. I mean, the witness, even his roommate, said, yeah, well, he was gone between 12 and 3. She indicated further that the subject, Plato, smoked Camel non-filters, and that he had a tattoo on his upper left arm, and that he was believed to be in possession of a spring-loaded BB gun. She also indicated Roger Plato had a beard. Listen to this. This is sort of matches what you hear subjects of crimes do all the time. Roger Plato had a beard on Thursday, which she assisted in shaving off of Roger Plato at his request on Friday. So there you go. You know, somebody with hair, and then they shave, and then they actually ask you to look out for those kind of quick changes like that. And they did that again in the Delphi case. Remember? Okay, Vonda Dice further indicated that at the time of the interview, 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 22nd, 1988, she believed Roger Plato to be in Union City building a pole barn with a friend from Bellevue. Further, that Roger Plato took her red Torino and left his truck. Detectives told them, so he didn't want to drive around in his truck. He took his roommate's red vehicle and left his truck. Detective Tolf, I'm not sure what that is. Detective Tolf then, or told, I don't know what that word is supposed to be, then went to Union City in search of Roger Plato. Being unable to find subject there, Detective Tolf, I guess that's his name, went to Bellevue in hopes of finding Plato at the friend's home, which was across the street from the Bellevue Fell Posh, according to Vonda Dice. Detective Tolf was observing said house from the parking lot of the Fell Posh. Tolf was observing said house from the parking lot when the subject Plato came from the house and headed towards the red Torino in the parking lot. Detective Tolf was able to identify Plato by 2 pictures of Plato as well as the descriptions given by Dice. Detective Tolf attempted to arrest Plato when a struggle ensued, at which time Plato was shot and died several hours later. The Eaton County Sheriff's Department towed said red Torino to their garage. It is believed the said vehicle may contain the items described in 2 above. It should be further noted that, that's probably the victim, said subject also took her driver's license and perhaps some other items of identification, and that a radio or electronic device resembling a radio was also seen in the truck. So he took her driver's license and was going to use that to threaten her. Is this interesting for you guys? I'm just trying to go through the actual, what happened. Okay, there was a report on a rape kit, and there's one more. This is another report. I'm just going to go over this one. I was informed by Lieutenant Burdett at approximately 16:45 hours on 10/20/88 that being a Thursday of this case, and proceeded from the station where I, with Lieutenant Burdett, to Lila Hospital to wait there for the arrival of the victim. From there, the robber abducted her. Let's see. I spoke with the officer, Capital Lakeview branch of the Michigan National Bank West. That's right. So this is where she was abducted. From there, the robber abducted her and her 2 children at gunpoint and took them to a secluded area believed to be along Golden Avenue. Victim is new to this area, having moved here a couple of weeks ago from Illinois. And by the way, when I was talking to Jim today, I showed him where the description said it was, and he goes, yeah, I agree, it wasn't where I was. He thought, last night we were talking, he thought that was there, and then I was like, wow. So he drove right by the victim. He drove by Gail to then rape another woman right there, but turns out it's over here. It's pretty, it's close, it's not. But I think that the police should get cadaver dogs and check this entire wooded area right here, even now. Just have them go anywhere that's not a home at this point. Because you would think that during the excavations for the homes they would have found something. But I think they should check all around, especially out in this area. Anywhere there's a road and then just off of that. Let's see. The victim is new to this area. She only moved there a couple weeks ago from Illinois and is not real familiar with the area at this time. At this particular point in time, it cannot be determined from her description exactly where this suspect took her and her kids to. So they didn't know it when this report was being made. Once there, suspect took Jane out of his truck and at gunpoint to an area approximately 25 to 30 yards away of the site of the truck. Out of the site of the truck. And the children, and let's see, it's hard to read this because the way they wrote it. Let's see, let me try that again. 25 to 30 yards away of the site of the truck, and the children and their raped her. After raping suspect, put her back in the truck with her children, drove her to the corner of Capitol and Golden Avenue, where he let them out, and he proceeded north down on Capitol Avenue. I mean, look how ridiculous that is. So he drove back this way, and then he dropped them off right here, and then he continued north. Well, of course he did, because he lives right there. I mean, what a weirdo. I mean, he just like, a lady's at a bank, abducts her, steals money. Oh yeah, I'm gonna rape you. I mean, he's a freaking whack job. Then he drives her over here, rapes her, then drives back over here, drops her off right on this corner here. Then he heads on home north. Like that's, you know, a day in a day in the life of this crazy guy. It's wild. So he let them out and proceeded north, down on Capitol Avenue, leaving the area. I was informed by Officer Lapierre that Officer Metzger had processed her vehicle for latent prints at the scene of the Capitol and Lakeview Branch Bank. Yeah, because her car was still at that at that bank in the parking lot. Apparently, what had happened was that the victim had just used the automated teller machine at the location and had gotten back into her almost new Chevy Blazer, shut the door, and was in the process of putting her money away. While she was doing this, the suspect opened the door to her Blazer, brandished the gun, and demanded the money. For more details on this, refer to the transcription, and that's the one that we'll be going over. After the, let's see, I'll just go down here. After the medical examination was completed at Lila Hospital, let's see, she accompanied by her husband, so her and her husband rode with this affiant writing this to the area of where she was abducted and pointed out to me the route that was taken by the suspect to get to the area where the suspect raped her. She told me that, or showed me that the suspect went south from Lakeview on Capitol Avenue to Capitol and Golden, where he turned left and proceeded eastbound under the M66 overpass, which is right here. So just to let you know, it's right there, 66. Right underneath there. Where is that? Overpass into Emmett Township. He got to a sewer lift station. That's not there anymore, I don't think. Which is on the south side of the intersection of Golden and Pawnee. So again, you know, this is Pawnee Street right here, and it's on the south side. Looks like at one time there might have been a little something you could drive on right there. Long time ago. Let me try going back to not that far back. Okay, let's see. Oh, there you go. That's almost that's a good one. And it's not that far back. It's more like here. So that's before they put in some of these other homes that they've got. Now we can go down to Street View just to see what it looks like. But apparently it was right there and then took a path. And I bet you anything that was it. Right there. Probably a pretty isolated, secluded spot. Okay, so the victim was able, Jane, was able to show us the location of where he stopped the truck, and tire impressions were found in the soft dirt and sand on that particular trail. The victim told me that when they had pulled into the field, there was a dark blue, newer model car parked at the drive of the sewer lift station. She feels that it was occupied, however, she cannot get a look at the occupants. There was also another vehicle parked across the street in the same general area that she thinks might also have been occupied. After locating where the vehicle was stopped, an attempt was made to locate the actual scene of the sexual assault. However, due to the onset of darkness and the flashlight that I was that I had was growing dimmer. The search for the crime scene was terminated until daylight, in hopes that it would be easier to spot and no evidence could be destroyed, like stumbling around in the dark. Well, you hope it doesn't rain, though, right? It was determined at that time to return to the station to have the victim make up a composite picture of the suspect who had robbed and abducted her and her kids and assaulted her sexually. Detective Pfeiffer met us at the station and conducted an interview approximately an hour and a half at length and obtained the detailed description and a composite picture of the suspect. This composite has been circulated to all area departments. While Detective Pfeiffer was conducting his interview, and hey, Chloe's going nuts. Oh boy, she's doing a twirling dervish. She's all over the place. Oh man, I don't think she's gonna stop. While Detective Pfeiffer was conducting his interview and compiling the composite picture, was advised by Detective Van Straten that as soon as possible we should have the victim return to the scene, as it appeared that it was going to rain, there you go, this particular evening, and an effort would have to be made to locate the actual scene of the sexual assault to determine if there was any evidence in the area. After Detective Pfeiffer was done, I transported her and her husband back to the scene. Once there, the victim, assisted by myself, Detective Van Straten, and Officer Church of the Emmett Township Police Department, located what she felt reasonably sure was the scene of her sexual assault. The scene was processed by Detective Van Straten. Due to the late hour at this point and the fact that the victim was obviously becoming tired and distracted, it was decided at this point to allow her to go home and rest for the evening and come back in the morning on 10/21 for an interview with me regarding the details of the actual incident. At approximately 9:28 a.m. Friday, the victim and her husband appeared at the station, and I conducted an interview alone with the victim. This interview was taped, and the transcription will be included with this report. In the interview, the victim described in detail the incident which occurred. In listening to the victim's account of the incident, it could not be determined at this point if the suspect's intent was to initially just rob the victim of her money and then form later the idea while robbing her of the sexual assault, or whether his intent all along was to sexually assault the victim. In the sexual assault, the suspect instructed her to remove her own clothing, instructed her to remove her blouse and bra, in which time she informed him that she didn't think that this would be very satisfying to him because she had, in her own words, no boobs. The suspect raised the victim's shirt and bra up to expose her breasts and looked at them for a few moments and said, "Okay, you can keep your shirt on." I mean, this guy's just like a, humiliating too, idiot. Take the rest of your clothes off. The victim then stripped from the waist down, and the suspect unbuckled his pants and pulled his pants down around his knees. The suspect dropped to his knees, grabbed the victim gently by the arm, and also pulled her to the ground. The victim was made to lay on her back, draw her knees up with her feet flat on the ground. The suspect then penetrated the victim with his penis and had sexual intercourse with her for a short period of time. The suspect withdrew his penis from her vagina and stood up on his knees. Suspect had the victim sit up and put his penis in her mouth. So I mean, this guy is like a crazy person. After doing this for a short period, the victim advises that the suspect ejaculated into her mouth and then withdrew his penis from her mouth. The victim spit out the semen which the suspect had ejaculated onto the ground. All during the robbery, the abduction and sexual assault, the victim advised that she continually pleaded with the suspect not to do the act he was doing, not to hurt her or her children, and not to kill her or her children. The suspect seemed to display an extraordinary amount of patience with the victim and her pleadings. It should be noted at the onset that when the suspect first appeared at the door of the victim's vehicle, brandished the gun, he told her that it was a real gun, and if she did not do what she was told, that she would be shot or killed. These threats were repeated on several occasions by the suspect. For an exact description of what the suspect said and what times refer to the victim's statement. Anyways, so, that was that description, but then, there's more on here, but I'm going to switch over to her. It's a pretty long document here. I mean, look at this. I'm not even sure I can finish the damn thing, It's question and answering the whole way through. And I don't, I'm not going to use Mary Lou and John Boy's voice, okay? So, anyways, I'll be back in just a minute. So I just want to let you know, if this is something that you don't feel like you can listen to, then you probably don't want to be here, okay? I'm going to be reading her actual words, okay? So, there you go. I'll be back in just a second. Thanks, Mag. All right, I'm back. Oh, and by the way, so you guys don't keep asking over and over and over again, Kubi's not a moderator anymore. She's not here. I think she decided to go help out another channel exclusively. Okay, so that's just the way it is. So if we could just quit asking over and over again, you know. Okay, good, thanks. Right. Don't ask any questions, follow-ups, anything like that. It is what it is, alright? She chose to go help somebody else. And amazingly how similar some of the elements of the show over there has become. Pretty weird. Alright, so you guys ready? Alright, so I mean, it'd almost be better if somebody was the girl and I asked the questions. Because you have to go, there's a, well, there's a script, never mind. So he asks, are you okay? She says, I feel worse today than I did yesterday. And then he says, in what way? Just miserable. I'm like a lot scared maybe. I don't know. My stomach hurt bad. I think she might be from a different country. Just based on, unless the guy is typing in incorrectly. But it seems like it's like that throughout, so she seems to have like an accent of some sort. Hold on. Let me turn that back up. But I tell you what, it does make me uncomfortable reading those parts. They are words, but it makes me uncomfortable. Alright. So it says, in what way? Just miserable. I'm like a lot scared maybe. I don't know. My stomach hurt bad. Do you think things are starting to hit you now? Is that it? And then question, yeah, probably. Let me get some quick information. What is your middle name? Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Date of birth. Let me skip through this part. She's 5'8". And this one's a little tricky one. How much do you weigh? And she said 115. He was trying to be goofy like that officer in the Daybell case. What color eyes? She has blue eyes, blonde hair, 5'8", 115 pounds. You mentioned last night that you work out regularly on Nautilus and that type of thing. Fairly strong. She said. And then Pfeiffer talked to you for better than an hour last night as far as descriptions of the guy that raped you and the truck and that type of thing. I'm not going to get too much into details of descriptions as far as how he looked and what the truck looked like or anything of that. Let's see. Anything of that. Not sure what that means. We will be getting into details as far as exactly what he did, okay? That can be. It may not be comfortable, but I do need to know exactly. This is a transcript, right? So it's not going to be eloquent. It's just going to be their conversation, and then somebody dictated it and put it to notes. If you can remember which direction he approached from, that type of thing. Can you tell me? When we pulled into the parking lot, he was not there because when I parked my truck, being that it's new, I always makes sure that there is nothing on either side of it. I did notice this, and I went in and came out and opened up the front driver's side of the door and got in, and he still wasn't there. And I closed the door, and he must have just then pulled up as I closed my door, because it's like out of the corner of my eye I seen a green Dodge truck pull up, and I was putting my money away. He opened the driver's side of the door, and he opened it real fast, and that you just want me to keep telling you what happened? That's funny how they put just that kind of stuff in this. Yeah, it seems like she's from like Sweden or something, you know. Okay, let me stop you here for just a minute. You went inside and did business inside the bank, right? Right. In the doorway there is a money machine. I wonder if that's still, let's see if that kind of looks like that. That bank looks old. Okay, that wasn't there. Let's see. Oh, I guess it was. Yeah, there might have been like a bank machine. Remember how they used to have all, well, they still do, right? The teller machines inside these little sort of foyers. When we pulled into the, let's see, right, in the doorway there's a money machine. A ready teller machine. A ready teller machine there. Uh-huh. Did you notice, or did you have a feeling about which direction he came from as far as when he pulled into the lot? Do you know where the Jewel Osco store is? Uh-huh. Do you know where Capitol Avenue is on the opposite direction? Uh-huh. Do you have an idea of anything of where he came from? Did he come off Capitol Avenue? See, I don't know which direction he would have come from. I just caught out of the corner of my eye that he just pulled in right next to me. I didn't see out in the street in front of me which way he came from or nothing. Question: You are part facing the bank building. Are you the bank? Let's see. You are part facing the bank building. Are you the bank itself? I don't even know what that means. I was parked facing the side street that the bank is on. I was facing the side street. The bank is behind you. Answer: No, it's next to me. Next to you? Yeah, there's a side street right here in front of me, and the bank is on the right of me. I wonder if it's this. And she's, or maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, like I said, I mean, let's just go back to 1999 and see. No, that's totally different. That's where the bank was. That's not the same. They completely tore it down and built a new bank there. See, look at these buildings. That's nothing like that now. So we won't be able to check that out. I guess we could maybe see how far back. See, 2005, and that's 1999. So in that 6-year period, they tore that down. Okay, so I'm just going to get to this part. Yeah, there was a side street there. When he opened up the door, what did he say? He opened the door. I was real startled, and I looked at him, and I was just kind of shooken. And he said, "This is a real gun." And he had it like this. And he said, "You don't want your kids hurt." He said, "Give me all your money." That's what he said. Question: So at that point, his intentions that you perceived at that point, was he just robbing you? Yeah. Go on with what happened. I won't interrupt you for a minute. That's hard to do, you know. So after, this is her answer. So after he said that, I said, "Oh my God." I said, "I don't believe it." I said, "Please don't take my money. This is all the money I got." I said, "Just go." I said, "Turn and go." And I said, "I ain't even going to look." And then he got upset with me. And he said, "No one will get hurt. Do what I say." He said, "Give me all the money." And he put the gun up closer to me. Okay, because I was still sitting in my car. I said, "Here," gave him the money like this. You know, probably was showing him that he handed it to her. She's on video too, but he had the gun, let's see, he had the gun in his hand like this, and he went shuffling through the money, trying to count it, but he was real nervous. He was real nervous. Was his hand shaking? Yeah. And he said, how much is here? And I said, I don't know. I said about $110. And I said, here, take the keys to my truck. Take my purse. I said, just leave us alone. I said, just go. I said, I'm not going to call the police or nothing. And he said, no, you're not going to call the police. I said, please don't hurt my kids. What's wrong, Blue? Hey, hold on. I think Blue wants to go outside again. Crazy. So you know Blue has to go to the bathroom when he runs up and he jumps up and hits your leg, and then he runs towards the door, then he comes back and hits your leg again. That means you got to let him out like now. Yeah, she's got really great memory for this. I said, please don't hurt my kids. I kept saying, please don't hurt my kids. He said, I'm not going to hurt nobody as long as you do what I tell you to do. And he said, what you're going to do, he said, that you are going to get in my truck. And he said that you will leave the kids here, and I'm going to drive you 2 blocks down the way. A couple of blocks down the way. This is just how she's saying it. No, he said that I'm going to drive you 2 blocks down the way, and he said, then you will walk back to your truck. But he was real insistent that my kids were going to stay there. Real insistent. By the way, he was, by the way he was so insistent, I thought he was going to kill me. Yeah, that's a pretty good, possibility. Why else would he want to take me anywhere? So I wouldn't go, and he was getting really mad at me, and, pointing the gun right on me. And he goes, just get in my truck, he said. Get in the truck, and your kids will be fine. He said, I'll drop you off, and then you will come back here. And you will walk back to your truck, he said. I said, please. I just kept saying, please don't hurt my kids. I said, please don't hurt me. And he kept saying that he wasn't going to hurt me as long as I did what he said. So then my daughter, at this time, was real upset and crying. And she kept saying that she wanted to go home, and he said, okay, I'll take her with, then something, ... I said, you are not taking my daughter anywhere. I said, I'll die before you take my daughter. He said, no, I'll take you and your daughters with me. Just leave your son in the car. And I said, no, my son is not going to stay here by himself. I said, I can't do that. And like I said before, he was real nervous. And he kept telling me to do what he said and no one would get hurt. I don't know, he was looking at me straight in the eye the whole time. Just kept looking at me in the eye. His eyes were like real small eyes, but they were like just as open as far as he could get them. Really, really wide open? Real wide open. Did he blink? I don't think he did, to be honest with you. I don't think he did because he was just like scared as his eyes were wide open, staring me right in the eye the whole time. All I kept saying was, don't hurt me or my kids. He said, okay, I'll take them both. And I said, you are just going to drop us off and we can walk back? And he said, yeah, I'm just going to drop you off a couple blocks down and you can walk back. I mean, it's funny to believe a story like that, Why would he just want you to get in the car so he could drive you 2 blocks? And then, so he put the gun in his jacket, and I can't remember what color his jacket was. He put the gun in here. Can't remember what color his jacket was. He put the gun in here, and he had his hand in there. It's a little bit like, you know, like you kind of picture the bridge guy holding the gun up inside the jacket. See, look, it says it right there. In here, and he had his hand in there, and he was not holding me, but like just on my shoulder. And then the question was, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. We got out of the truck that I was facing the passenger side of his truck, looking in. I know exactly, you can kind of picture that. Her driver's side would be facing his passenger side. Hey, thanks, Patricia. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Let's see. Okay. We got out of the truck that I was facing the passenger side of his truck, looking in the bed of his truck, and I said, can we please ride in the back of the truck? I said, I don't want my kids by you. I said, can we please ride in the back of the truck? He said, no, I want you in the... Oh, oops, I didn't know that was still on. Sorry. Chewbacca!
I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
Thank you.
Oh, yep. Thank you, great, Sid. No problem. Thank you. So she wanted to sit in the back. I said, no, I'm not leaving the kids. I said they have to stay with me. And he said, I kept saying, please let me go in the back of the truck. Now the parking lot seemed to have gotten more crowded, like there was a lot of people walking back and forth, and they kept looking at us. These people, and so he was getting really scared, and he said, okay. I mean, that's the part that shocked me. It's like right in the middle of the day at a busy, you know, there's a bank on a busy road, all kinds of people walking around. And he was getting really scared, and he said, okay, no, get in the front of the truck. So my son got in first, and I got in, and then my daughter was in my lap, and I pulled my son onto my lap, and I had them hugged like this, and the door, passenger door, didn't close good. It's like you close it and it just stayed ajar. And so then he walked around the back of the truck and got in. Starting the truck, he went in reverse, and it's like he went, it's like when he went into reverse, it like jerked the truck, like he hit something, and there was a noise, and I looked back. He said, oh my God, and I looked back, there was nothing there that he hit. It was like it jerked real hard, making a funny noise, like a bang. And then he put it in forward, first gear, and he drove out of the parking lot. And he drove out of this side street that I was facing, and made a right to go on to Capitol. Let's see. So is that the side street? I bet you it was over here. So it was right here. She was on this side street, Lakeview, and took a right onto Capitol. So I bet you the bank was over here, and this side street was the one she was talking about. Took a right onto Capitol. I think it's going to be like that. That's what I think. Thanks! And I shaved my legs for this. And I shaved my legs for this? Yeah, she's trying to help me out with an interview. I won't say what it is, but hopefully it comes to fruition. That'd be cool. Alright. the truck like hit something and there was a noise, and I looked back. He said, "Oh my God," and I looked back. There was nothing there that he hit. It was like it jerked real hard, making a funny noise like a bang. And then he put it in forward first gear and he drove out of the parking lot. And he drove out of this side street that I was facing and made a right turn onto Capitol Avenue. And he was driving normal. He wasn't driving crazy. He made a right onto Capitol Avenue, and I kept saying, "Are you going to drop us off here?" Just a couple of blocks down, and I kept saying, "Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt my kids. Just leave us alone." Then he said, "You are not going to call the police." And I said, "I'm not going to call the police." I said, "I'm not going to tell my husband." I said, "Just leave us be. I want to go home." And my daughter kept saying, "I want to go home." My daughter kept asking him, "Where are you going to drop us off?" He said, "Just a couple of blocks away." Man, just think how terrifying that was for everybody. And you can walk back to your car. And so then he made a left on that street that I showed you by those apartments. I bet you, anyway, let's see, a left. Yeah, so that makes sense. And I bet you there's apartments right on this corner. Yeah, right there. So came down here, took a left on Golden Avenue. And then he said, "That's Golden Avenue." Okay. I didn't see that. He made a left there, and we were going. And then I said, "My kids can't walk this far." I said, "This is too far." You said just a couple of blocks. He, see, right now I'm getting those feelings like I was told you guys when I was a kid, and the basketball camp guy had me in a van, dropped every other kid back, and just drove by my place. Even though I said, I live right here, and he just kept driving. So at that moment, you're just really freaky, panicky. You have your, heart's beating fast. You have your hand on the door. Let's see. He said, "I will turn around here and drive back." And then I said to him, "I really feel, I really feel sorry for you." I just kept talking. "I'm sorry, you said what to him?" I told him that I really feel God, that's hard to say, really feel sorry. I struggle with some of these phrase combinations. Man. Really feel sorry 4 times fast. Okay, come on, go ahead. Got to add some levity to this horrible story. You end up saying really feely, especially with sorry. Look at really feel sorry. Say that 3 times, 4 times fast. Come on, go ahead. I know, it's impossible. It's crazy.
Oh, I can do it, watch. I really feel sorry.
Well, good for you. Jesus. I just kept talking, and he didn't say nothing. He was quiet. I said, "I really feel sorry for you that you are such a desperate person. You are so desperate to get money. I was pretty desperate at one time." He was trying to associate with him. I was pretty desperate at one time, and I said I didn't have any money, and I had 2 kids, and I said I kind of understand, how you would do something like that. And I said, "I really feel sorry for you," and he didn't say nothing. He didn't tell me to shut up. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say anything in response to that at all? "Nothing," she said. "Okay." Then she continues on. And he was looking straight ahead, driving, and he wouldn't turn around. And I said, "Please, you got to stop, sir. Please just stop so I can get out." I said, "I'll walk from here. That's okay." He said that I'll turn around up here, and then he turned into his field, and he was driving in there, and I thought, well, he is going to turn around here and go back, and he kept going in there deeper and deeper into the field, and so I just kept saying to him, "Where are you taking us?" He said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not going to hurt you as long as you do what I say. And then I got too hysterical because I knew he was bringing me to kill me. I knew he was. I knew he was. He just kept telling me, just do what I say. And it seemed like it took a long time to get back there, going this way, going that way, and this way. Then the damn door opened, and when it opened, the passenger door, like I said, it wouldn't close really good. It opened, and my kids and I was going to roll out because it was bumpy, and he was going kind of slow. It was a little bumpy, the truck. And I was stuck, and I said, you got the kids, just roll out of here and take off. I was stuck, and I said, you got the kids. I don't know what that is. Can't run, and how can I carry 2 kids? And he could just turn around and shoot me. He got real scared and pointed the gun at me. He said, close the door. And I said, I didn't do nothing. I said I didn't open it. Honest. So I closed the door, and the damn door kept opening, and was sitting this close to the door because I didn't want to be near him. He kept getting real nervous. He said, close it. Harder, close it, harder. And I said, please don't kill me. Please don't hurt me. And I was going on and on like this. Don't hurt my kids, he said. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Just do what I tell you. Then he, hold on a second. Gotta fix something here. All right. I was going on and on like this. Don't hurt my kids, he said. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Just do what I tell you. Then he parked and stopped, and I said, why are you here? I said, what are you going to do? I said, please don't kill me, and I was panicky. I wasn't crying, and I was panicky, and was real upset, and really didn't know what was going on. I don't think he was just dumb. I don't know. I think he was just dumbfounded. How old is, and I think he was talking about her son. He's 4. And then she goes, So he looked at me straight in my eye, and I was looking at him, and he said, I'm going to make love to you. Were those his exact words? Those were his exact words. I'll never forget it for as long as I live. He said, I'm going to make love to you, and I said, no way. I said, please don't do this. Question. I want to stop you right now before we get into that. Do you remember anything else about the truck? Like maybe did it have a loud muffler or anything? I don't remember. You don't remember? Let's see. You don't remember. Okay. Now we're going to get into the part back into the woods, okay? We'll pick up where he said he wanted to make love to you, okay? I know it's hard for you, but I need for you to speak up. You know, we are taping this. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay, but I know it's natural for you to kind of lower your voice and everything. You don't have to shout, but I do need for you to kind of keep your voice a little bit up, and why don't you go ahead and pick up from there, okay? He said, I'm going to make love to you. Then she said, that's right. His exact words, and he looked at me straight in the eye, and he said, I'm going to make love to you, and I was just panicked. I said, please don't do this. I said, please don't kill me. And I said, my kids. I said, I can't leave my kids. And he said, your kids will stay here. We are going to walk over here. He said, they won't see nothing. And I said, and I think probably the sense that one of the son or the daughter said, no, mommy. She said, where are you going? Where are you going to go? So that was the daughter. And I said, the man just want to make sure he got all my money. And the guy told my daughter, I just have to talk to your mommy. I just have to talk to your mommy. He was very kind. I mean, it's weird that she uses words like that. He was very kind. He never swore at me. See, this has this weird, it's a weird situation, Well, when I say weird, it's not like the typical sounding, violent type rape, it's really bizarre. He forced this whole situation. I mean, you have to listen to it. I've seen just a couple snippets later even. It's bizarre. Really crazy shit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. Just really bizarre. She said, he never swore at me. And then he said, that's not unusual. I'm sort of wondering if we're just not, there's these other versions out there that we just don't hear about very much. The fact that he said that's not unusual. I mean, he was so nice about it, gentle. Talks a lot to the kids, except when he got nervous. He raised his voice a little bit, talked kind of fast. Question, so even all through the thing back at the bank, he was still using a kind tone of voice except when he was nervous? Uh-huh. Except when he got nervous. He would raise his voice a little bit and talk a little speedier. This is really weird, isn't it? I mean, it's just... so then I kept begging him not to kill me. I said, please don't kill me. I said, my kids don't have nobody. I said, what are they going to do? What are you going to do to my kids? I said. I mean, she must have been freaked out too, right? Like, he's sitting there. I mean, imagine thinking you're going to die, and then you know that the same guy that killed you is going to go over to your kids, right? I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to my kids? I said, please don't hurt my kids, please. And he said, I'm not going to hurt you as long as you do what I say. I said, okay, I'll do anything. I said, I'll do anything you tell me. I said, please don't kill me. I was begging him. I had my hands like this, probably making the prayer thing, hand gesture. I was begging him, and he said that we will walk over there. I'll walk over here. And then we walked. It wasn't that far away. Walked past the bush. He didn't have to push nothing out of the way, And then we down that path, and he said, and then he said, I just kept, and then she interrupts her thought and says, I just kept begging him not to kill him, to kill me. I just kept telling him that I would do anything he wants. I said, my kids can't see this. I said, my kids can't see this. I said, they never seen my husband and me together. They can't see this. And he said, don't worry, they'll be fine. He said, they won't see nothing. And and so I was standing there, and he is standing in front of me, and I was kitty corner from that tree. Remember that tree I kept recognizing? That's probably when she went out there. Right. I was like in front of it, kitty corner. Here was the tree, and here was me, and he was standing in front of me, and he said, now I want you to take all of your clothes off. And he had the gun at me. He said, now I want you to take all of your clothes off. I said, please don't hurt me. I said, please don't kill me. I said, my kids won't have nowhere to go. And he said, I'm not going to kill you if you do what I tell you to do. And he had them wide eyes, and he just kept staring at me right in my eyes, like he wasn't ashamed or embarrassed or nothing. He was nervous. He was nervous. You could kind of tell in his voice, and he had like a hillbillish type accent. Not real strong, but it was there. Like slang his words. You know how you slang. Slurred his words. Okay? You know how you slang like a twang. I don't know how the officer didn't know what what she was saying. That seemed really obvious. You know how you slang like a twang. Yeah, his words, and he said, take all your clothes off, and I took my jacket off, and I threw it on the ground, and he said, no, don't do that. He said, spread it out. You can't lay on that. Said, oh, so I picked up the jacket. He was helping me spread it out on the ground, and he had the gun in his hand, and I kept seeing that gun. Okay, grab it. You know, go for it. Oh, I think she was saying, I kept seeing that gun. Okay, grab it. You know, go for it. But then I was afraid because if I missed or if I did something wrong and screwed up, that he would shoot me and kill me, and what would he do with my kids? So then he said, now take off the rest of your clothes. He said, take off all your clothes, and I said to him, you don't want me to take off my shirt off. I said, I have no bust. I have no chest. I have no boobs. I said, you don't want me to take my shirt off. He goes, let me see. He took my shirt off like this and my bra and holds it over my chest, and he looked at my breast and he was really checking them out, you know. He said, yeah, okay, fine. Pull it back down again. That's, you know, humiliating as hell, right? He said, you can leave your shirt on. He said, take your pants off. He said, take everything off, and the whole time I kept saying, please don't kill me. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt my kids. I said, my kids, what are you going to do with my kids? That's all I kept thinking of. And he said, no one is going to get hurt. Just do what I tell you to do. Yeah, it's a freaking monster. He probably thought, you know, it's really bizarre, you know, in his mind. You know, he was probably thinking, oh, I'll just be really, you know. Did he lose patience with you at any point? And, you know, like, it's weird because her wording about it is sort of defending him in a way, you know. But you know, what's sort of lost in it is that the entire time he's threatening her life. That's why she has to do what she's doing, right? So the question was, did he lose patience with you at any point? Not really. You know, by the way, I don't think I've ever seen one of these documents of a case that was, you know, I don't think I've ever read one of these. It's crazy. You know, you hear the accounts in a newspaper or something, but it's weird to actually sort of feel like you're hearing, you know, her. I mean, like you're actually listening to her. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but yeah. So not really. Again, he said, did he lose patience? Not really. I can't say that he did. Okay, took everything off from my waist down. At first, I took my shoes off. I don't know why. Just did. Took my shoes off. I'm standing there, and then he said, take your pants off. Take your pants off. He was saying it nice, and I took off my pants and threw them on the ground with my underwear, and he was checking me out. He kept looking at me. Then he undid his pants, and that is when I seen, no, he took his jacket off. Took his jacket off, and he kept it on the ground, dropped it on the ground, and he put his gun on the jacket. That's when I thought, here is my chance, go for it, you know. It was right by my feet, and I won't get it, you know. So he undid his pants, and when he took his shirt off and dropped on his pants like this, that's when I noticed he had a short sleeve t-shirt kind of on. Now we have another question. Now you said when he took his shirt off, okay, did he have another shirt on over this t-shirt? No, he took his jacket off. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were. No, it was a jacket that he took off. Okay. And he was like in a t-shirt type shirt, and it was short sleeve. And when he was interested in undoing his buckle of his belt, I noticed the tattoo on his arm. His arm had like a muscle there, which I was surprised because he's so thin, real skinny. Okay, and that's why it kind of caught my eye. He had a tattoo there, and like half of showed underneath of his shirt, and would continue. Sounds like kind of like the Popeye. I don't know where she's referring to, but thanks, Jessica Schubach. Okay, and that's why it's kind of caught my eye. He had a tattoo there, and like half of showed underneath of his shirt and would continue up. I don't know how far up, underneath his sleeve. He had some kind of brighter colors in it than the green or the black basic kind of tattoo. He had some kind of bright colors. It was just like crabby looking lines. Do you remember what colors you saw in there? I just keep thinking of like a green-red kind of color. You mentioned a yellow. And a yellow bright like yellow like this legal pad color? Yeah, like standing out. You mentioned that he unbuckled his pants. Uh-huh. He had a belt, right? Thank you, Andrea Rogero Drum. Hold on, let me get some water. Alright. So the question above was, he had a belt, right? Yep. What kind of buckle was on the belt? It was just a normal buckle that you stick the little pin through the hole on the buckle. Was it a wide belt or a narrow belt? It was just a normal. Mine is about 1.5 inches wide. Was it about that? Just like that. Just like this. Just like this? Exactly. It had the same buckle, gold buckle. Now it's like, are you the same buckle, gold buckle and brown belt? I don't know why it sticks in my head. Well, I don't know. She's pretty good at remembering everything. It was a leather. Was it leather or nylon? It looked like a leathery kind. So, as he was doing that, I don't remember how I got down on the ground. I don't remember if he told me to lay down or if he helped me down. I can't remember how I got down. I cannot remember. And he undid his pants and he dropped them to his knees, and I don't think he had underwear on. I don't remember seeing any underwear, just his blue jeans. And he took his thing out, his penis. No, you know what? He was kneeling before I laid down. He was kneeling before he laid down? Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking on it. That's what he did. He undid his pants to his knees. He took his penis out, and because that was the first I seen his penis, and I was still standing up, and he was on his knees. Okay, do you remember how you got down on the ground now? He had my arm and he helped me down. That's what he did. He laid you down? Hey, thanks, Chad Bobinger. Yes, he laid me down and he said, lay down. And I did, and he told me to put my knees up. He said, put your knees up like this, At this time I was crying, whimpering, crying. Put your knees up like this. And then he says, put your knees up like this. How did he have you put your knees up? I think it's just sort of like, you know, I think she's just describing like the classic, you know, missionary, you know, I don't know why he can't figure out what the hell she's saying. Her feet are flat on the ground and her knees are up. You know, it's just... let's see. He took mine by the... Let's see. He took mine by the caps and he had me raise my knees up into... Put my knees up by... My feet were on the ground. My feet were on the ground and he just had my knees up in the air. Right. I have to go into details what he did to me. Right. And then she says, well, this is hard. And then he says, I know it is. This is hard. And then he says, I know. Okay, so he spread my legs apart and he said, I'm not going to hurt you. I was just whimpering and I said, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. And he took his, you know, he took his fingers, and then she says he gently found her, you know, I don't, it's just hard for me to read this shit, you know. And he put his fingers inside of her. He didn't ram it into me. He didn't hurt me, okay? Then he was riding me. Is that how I want to say it? I mean, it's bizarre, right? The way it's told. But I just can't, you know, I have a hard time reading this shit. He was moving back and forth. Yeah, he was moving back and forth on me. And this guy just asks stupid questions, you know. Yes, of course, that's what. Yeah, he was riding me back and forth and on me, and he said, hug me. And I said, oh God, please don't hurt me. So I just put my hands on his shoulders, and I'm not staring at his gun. His gun was on his jacket by his feet, and I'm thinking, how can I get this gun? And had my pants on his shoulders like this, and my hands on his shoulders like this. Was he lying fully on top of you, or was he supporting himself? No, he wasn't. When he told me, he said, hug me real soft, and I said, please don't hurt me, please don't kill me, and I put my hands like rested on his shoulders, and then he said, kiss me. No, first he said, you feel so warm and good inside. He said, you feel so warm and good inside, real soft, he said. And so she's saying he said that softly. And he said, now kiss me. And he was laying flat on me, and it felt like nothing on me. I just felt nothing, just absolutely felt numb. And he said, kiss me now. And I want you to kiss me. I said, please don't hurt me. He was kissing me. He was French kissing me. He kept sticking his tongue in my mouth, and it was kind of like he didn't brush his teeth, like he wasn't clean in his mouth, and cigarette smell. You could taste the cigarette on his breath? Yeah. Or in his mouth. Or in his mouth. Like he wasn't clean. Tasted like he was just woke up or something, you know, and he kept sticking his tongue in my mouth, and he kept kissing me, and that's all I could do was just lay there. The breath, the smell. He was on me no more than a couple of minutes, and then he pulled out and he said, did you ever give head before? You know, so then he makes her do that, and you know, we've already described how that went. I did it until he put it in my mouth. I put it in my mouth. Okay, he didn't have a choice. He said, you know, so he told her what to do. I don't really want to read all that shit. She spit it out. My head like go over the side, and I spit it out, and I said, can I spit it? Can I spit again? I was afraid to do anything without asking him. So he said, yeah. So I spit it out again, and he was still resting himself now on his knees over my body. He was on his knees now, and it was like he wasn't done. Like he was going to put it back inside me. He still had an erection. I said, hurry up, because you are taking... It's pretty crazy that she said that. She said, hurry up, because, you know, you're taking a long time. My kids are going to come and find me. He said, if your kids come and find me, you'll die. Jesus. Well, it's your fault, idiot. What if they got out of the car? He said, if your kids come, you'll die. I said, please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt my kids. And I said, please just hurry up. I figured that he already had ejaculated. He had to be done. I didn't say that to him, but that was what I was thinking. And he said, okay, and he got up, and then I got up, and I said, can I put my pants on now? He said, yeah, go ahead. He was talking really gently to me. You know, he was soft-spoken. Question, what was he saying at this point? He just said, yeah, go ahead, and he was pulling his pants up and zipping up, and I got my clothes, and I put my jacket on. I remembered this gold chain I had on, and I didn't want him to see it because this was a sentimental value. My father and mother bought this for me for Christmas, and I didn't want him to see it because it was worth a whole lot of money. So I buttoned my pink jacket up to my neck. I said, oh God, I'm so cold. I'm so scared. I said, please don't kill me. He said, I'm not going to hurt you. He said, why don't you, let's see. He said, why don't do what He said, why don't do what I tell you to do? I said, okay. I said, can we go back now? I said, just leave me. I'll walk. I can find my way. And he said, no, too far for you to walk. He said that I'll drive you back to the road and then you'll walk to your car. Let me stop you here for just a minute. Back up to where he put his penis. I mean, Jesus. She already told this story. Okay. Were you still laying down? No, I sat up. You sat up? Uh-huh. He was standing. He was on his knees. I need to go back and check to make sure my tape is still running to see if I have to flip it over. I mean, like, she was sitting up, he's on his knees. It's not like, you know. So if she's sitting up and he's on his knees, that's about the right height, I guess you could say. I don't know why I needed to ask that question again. It's, you know, it's not really vital to anything. Let's see. Go ahead and then we'll come back and finish. We're almost done, okay? Yeah. Like I told probably your kid, you are over the hard part of my interview at this point. Where we are at, you had put your clothes back on and going back to the truck. I put my pants on. I said, please don't kill me. He kept saying that he wasn't going to kill me. He said, don't you think I would have done it by now if I was going to kill you? And I said, okay. And then he said, I'm going to drop you off at the street. And I cut him off and I said, no, don't. I'll walk from here. I'll walk from here. He said, no, he said. He changed his mind. He said, I'm going to bring you back to the bank because I want to take your license plate number down. He said, I'm going to take your license plate down. And he said, I'm going to write it down. And he was real serious. And he said, because when then I will know where you are living in Battle Creek. That's exactly what he said. And I said, you don't need to go there. I said, I'll tell you what it is. She was going to tell him what her license plate was. I said, I'll write it down for you. He said he would know where you are living in Battle Creek. Yeah, he said, if you call the police and if I get arrested, he said, I'm going to come back. He said, I'll hunt you down and I'll kill you. I'll kill your kids and I'll kill your husband. That's exactly how he said it in that order. And then he said, I want to see your driver's license too. He said, I want to know where you live. So I said, you can take it. And I opened my purse. Like she was doing everything she could to survive, you know. And to be honest, that's what you know, you got a rapist that's, you know, a whack job, you know, you almost have to play along like you like the person. It's crazy, right? Because if you don't do that, you might end up them killing you, right? You know, and the thing is, she's actually being honest about. She could have sat there and went, "Oh God, he was screaming at me," to, you know, make the story better and everything. But she was literally just saying how it really was, which, you know, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it you know, I don't know how to explain it. You know, the whole gentle part of it. You know, this is like this weird situation that I've never even heard of something like this before. It's pretty bizarre. You know, I guess even in some of the East Area rapist cases, it's like that. And then he said, "I want to see your driver's license." I said, "Just bank book." And I said, "Here it is, my bank book, and here's my mortgage book, and it's got my Illinois address on it." And I said, "See, I'm not lying. That's where I work." And he took my bank book out and said, "How much more money you got in there?" And I thought, oh Jesus, he's going to take me back there and I'm going to have to withdraw more. But it shows in my bank book a balance of 144, and then I wrote down the 50 withdrawal that I just made underneath it, so it's like 90 something or 80 something dollars in there. So I guess it wasn't worth his trouble. He said, "Oh, forget it," like that. He said, "Oh, forget it." Then he said, "I want your driver's license." He took my wallet out and opened it, and I said, "I don't even have no credit cards or nothing to give you." I said, "I don't have credit cards, I just ripped them up." I said, "I just got this one here, but it's no good to you. It's from Illinois." See, here's the thing, everybody. The description of how this went down doesn't really jive with... It's the same car, but it doesn't jive very well with what happened to Gail in the story last night, right? Yeah. So here's the thing. Could this guy be the rapist in both stories? But Compton, maybe Compton had a beef, because remember Jim was talking about maybe there was some drugs going on and things. So maybe Compton had a beef with Gail, but he also was friends with this guy and had him come out and sexually assaulted her first. Then Compton came in and killed her. Right? Because this really, the way he was in this case, I mean, I'm not saying, obviously people can be different all the time. And we don't know what the 8 years that he got in prison were. But this doesn't fit that very well. It could have been the kids changed him up a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because remember, there was 2 people that were witnessed by the witness that drove by the argument outside the truck. That's what I think. I think Compton very likely could actually be the killer. They're both just as responsible. Because I think, obviously the semen matched Plato. That's who we're talking about here. Yeah, the kids may have made the difference, yeah. But it was also not even a real gun, okay? The gun that he used was a BB gun, and he pretended it was real. But yeah, I mean, it could be, I was saying the same thing as Mag a minute ago. It's hard to know for sure, but I'm kind of wondering now. Yeah, and there was all those other rapes during the time that that Plato was in prison. So I don't know. I mean, that's weird too, because Plato, is the rapist one. I don't know. I'll have to go look at that again. It's pretty complex. Let's see, I just ripped them up. I said, I just got this one here, but it's no good to you. It's from Illinois. I don't think he touched that. So then he said, I want your driver's license so I will know where you live. And he took it and he was reading it and he was looking at my picture on the driver's license and looking at me. And it didn't dawn on me that the driver's license picture shows when I was real heavy. That's funny. She weighed 165 pounds at the time that picture was taken. It said 145, but I weighed 165, and so he didn't say anything like why I was different from the picture of my license. But he kept looking, and I thought I took it back. Now that I think about it, I think he kept it in his hand, and he said, now I know where you live. And he said, we are going to drive you up to the bank and we'll write down your plate numbers, license plate numbers, and then I'll know where you're at in Battle Creek. Like that would, how would that help him? He would have to drive around to every house to look at it, your license. Did he say I've got friends, or did he say he has friends in Battle Creek? He just said I've got friends like that. So then he said, okay, let's go. I said, just leave me here. I'll walk. And he said, no, it's too far for you to walk. And he said, I want to take your plate numbers down. I said, just drop me off at the street and I'll walk the rest of the way. I said, you're going to beat me there anyway. I said, you're going to beat me there anyway. I can't call the police. He goes, oh yeah, that's true. Just like that. That's just exactly how he said it. Oh yeah, that's true. He said, okay. So then he walked, let me see, what did she say? I said, you're going to beat me there anyway. I said, you are going to beat me there anyways. I can't call the police. He said, oh yeah, that's true. Just like that. Just like exactly how he said it. Oh yeah, that's true, he said. Okay. So then he walked me back to, and then we proceeded to go back to the truck, and he wanted me to walk in front of him, and he had the gun on me, and this whole time he was talking to me about my driver's license and all that. He had the gun on me, and I said, please don't kill me, and please don't kill me, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt my kids. And then he said, if I was going to kill you, I would have killed you. I would have killed you by now, is probably what he meant to say. He said, I'm not going to kill you as long as you do exactly as I tell you to do. He said, you want to leave? He said, go ahead and go back. And I said, sir, please, sir. I said, can you just walk next to me? I can't walk in front of you. I said, I'm so afraid you're going to shoot me. And could you please walk next to me? And he goes, okay, like that. That would, I mean, that's, you know, smart too, right? Like, who the hell wants the guy walking right behind you? And he had the gun in one hand, and he had me like he was almost helping me. He had me by my arm, like gently, like he was helping me. Was he on your left side or your right side? He was on my left side, and we were walking back to the truck. Then he had the gun. When he had the gun, which hand would he hold it in? Either, or sometimes it would be in his left hand. Then he was talking to me. It was in his right hand. Then he was talking to me after, and I put my clothes, and he was talking to me about the driver's license and all that. No, it must have been all the time in his right hand, because it like he was facing you in different directions, so it's hard to, you know. Through all this, did you get an impression to whether he was left-handed or right-handed? I have to say that he was right-handed. Right-handed, okay. Yeah. And he went back out to the truck. Yeah, the guy walked to the truck, and he did what I asked. What I asked him to do. He walked next to me, and it was like he was helping me, gently holding my arm, and I was just saying, please don't kill me, please don't kill me, my kids, please don't hurt us, and seeing my kids at the truck, they were still both hugging each other. Wow, scared to death. Was the same when I left. My son and my daughter were holding each other. I said, okay guys, I'm back, and my kids said, where did you go? And she said, we're gone for a long time. And I said, well, the man just wanted to make sure that he had all of my money. He wanted to check my pockets and my purse and all my things. And she said, oh, okay. Then my daughter asked him, he walked in front of the truck and got in the driver's side. And when he got in, my daughter said, you are going to take me home now. And he said, I'm going to drop you off. That's pretty cute. I mean, you know, just the fact she says, you're going to take us home now. But man, what a freaking nightmare that they had to hug each other like that. Yeah, jeez. Daughter said, you are going to take me home now. And he said, I'm going to drop you off at the street and you can walk back to your car and you can go home. And she was crying. My daughter was crying. My son had no expression at all. He had his big brown eyes open up, and he always kept looking at him and kept looking at him. And he said, there's a walkie-talkie. A hockey-talkie? He calls it a hockey-talkie. Was this thing, remember the thing I told you about sitting right next to it on the seat? And it was some kind of radar detector or something. It didn't make no sound. He was all plugged into something, but it didn't make no sound or anything, or he didn't have it turned on. I bet it's a CB radio. He would listen to cops traffic. So then he drove out the same way, the exact same way, and it wasn't straight down that path. He would go off the tracks, and then he would go back on it again. He'd go off the tracks and back on it. Then we were driving back to the road. The damn car door opened again, and I said, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. He goes, shut the door. Again, exactly the same as before. He said, you got to shut it hard because I almost fell out this time. Because right on the edge of the seat with my kids on my lap, you know, when he went like that, he grabbed my arm to pull me back because I almost fell out. So he would know I shut the door hard. Where was the gun at this point? Let's see. Where was the gun at this point? Okay, it was between his legs, and I kept telling my son, I don't want anybody near that gun. You sit by mommy, you sit on mommy's lap. And he got back on Golden Avenue. He made a left. So, hold on a second. So from right here, he's in these woods or whatever back in the day. Takes a left on the Golden Avenue right here. And those newer cars I told you about yesterday were still there. I just noticed them. At that time I felt maybe he was not going to kill me. If he was going to kill me, he would have done it in there. Yeah, that must have been a relief feeling that you're back out in civilization. Unless he's taking me somewhere else. So I was trying to look at these people so they would see me, my face, and he said, don't you do no funny business, or busy, she said. It said, don't you do nothing funny. I mean, now with those people. And that's what he said. Exactly? Or it doesn't say exactly, it says exactly. Don't you do nothing funny on me. Yeah. With those people? So then made a left on Golden Avenue, and he was doing the speed limit, driving normal, wasn't driving like he was drunk or anything like that. He wasn't high or nothing. I've seen people in that state of condition before when they are high or drunk, you know, and he was just driving normal, and I said, okay, stop here. I can walk from here. I can walk from here. Just leave me. And he said, no, it's too far for you to walk. He said, I'm going to take you to Capitol Avenue, and he is giving me directions on how to get back to my car. Okay, he said, I'm going to take you to Capitol Avenue. He said, you will turn right and walk straight past the light on Capitol. And he said, that is Columbia. Yeah, so he's talking about right here. This is Capitol. And you'll go right through the light. That's Columbia right here. So now you're getting right back to where the bank is. So he must have dropped him off sort of, you know, in an area where he could get some distance before they would even make it to that spot. You will turn right and walk straight past the light on Capitol Avenue. And he said that is Columbia. He said the bank right there, and you can get your truck and go home. That is what he said. And I said it again. Please don't hurt me. Please don't kill us. Don't hurt my kids. And he said, I'm not going to hurt you. He said, if you call the police and I get arrested, and he was so done serious about this. And then he had the gun in his right hand, positioning it at me. He said, I'm going to kill you. He said, I'll find you, I'll hunt you down, and I'll find you. And he said, I will find you if I have to go to Illinois, because I got a lot of friends, he said. Said it again. He said, I will find you, and I'll kill you. I'll kill your kids, and I'll even kill your husband. He said it again. I said, I'm not going to call the police. I said that I'm not even going to tell my husband. I said I can't tell nobody, you know, and I knew in my head, if I get out of this alive, I knew what the first thing I was going to do. I had it in my head. I was going to call my husband, then I was going to call the police. That's exactly what I was going to do. And we got to Columbia. He was approaching Capitol Avenue, and he said, when you get out of the truck, this is what you're going to do. He had the gun at me like this, pointing it at me. He said, you get out of the truck, you're going to look away from the truck, because if you look behind the truck, he said, I don't want you looking at my license plates, because if I get my license plate number and give it to the police, they can find my house. And I said, no, I will not look at your truck. And when he got to the corner, and he said, now you can get out. So he probably was just on the other side of the street. He said, just listening to that, I think it's like right there. So they had to wait for a light. He got to the corner, and he said, now you can get out. He said, just don't look at the truck or I'll kill you. And I said, no, I won't. He must have said he's going to kill her 100 times. I said, I will walk to that yellow thing. I said that I will get out with my kids, and I will walk right to the yellow thing. So open the door. And I put my kids out first, and then I got out, and I was crying and shut the door, and I didn't even look. I shut the door. I didn't even look at him. I didn't turn my head to look back at him. I just shut the door. And at this time, I was so scared, because I thought, oh, Jesus, he's going to shoot me in the back of the head. I just know he was going to shoot me. I just know it. And so I told my kids, you guys walk and don't run towards that yellow thing. And hold my hand, because I figured if I run, I'm running to the apartment to get help or something, you know. So he was still standing. I never looked back. Okay, but I could hear the truck running. And I could hear it at the corner. Did it sound loud? Not real loud. No, just kind of normal. Now I was driving my husband's pickup truck, and we were going down kind of like this bump. I don't know what's going on, what they're talking about now, but a bump road by Kellogg there, and I had to drop my kids off at the trailer where he was working. It felt just like I was in that pickup truck again, and even the sound of my husband's truck, because if I closed my eyes I would swear that I was in that green pickup truck again. And so he was there, and I said, you guys, we got to this yellow thing, and I had my back to him, but I know he was still there because I could still hear his truck running. I don't know, this got really confusing what she's saying here. I don't know what that means. I had my back to him, but I know he was still there because I could still hear his truck running. Then I dropped to my knees. I said, you guys get down on your knees and pray to God that we are still alive. Now I'm not a religious person. I'm a Catholic, but I don't go to church on Sunday like I should, but I don't, and I try and teach my kids about God, and I believe in God, and they do too. And I said, get down on your knees and pray to God that we are still together. I think she's just talking about maybe in her mind what she's thinking here. I was praying on my knees, and my son was just holding on to me, and I heard him pull away, heard him go right on Capitol, like this, towards the bank. Oh, how does that make, see if that makes sense. Oh, so they got dropped off right here. Oh, okay. Yeah. They were dropped off at this corner. Yeah. So they got dropped off right here. Because that's not a really long walk, but it gives them quite a bit of a head start. And so it'd be right in this area. That's the corner that he was talking about. But let's see, back in even 1999, yeah, it's not too different. So they were dropped off here, and then he went straight ahead like that. And you walk back up to the bank? Well, I stayed there at the yellow thing for about 5 minutes. Oh, let's see if there's still a yellow thing there. Well, there's a yellow fire hydrant and 3 yellow. You know, I'm wondering if that's where you would have dropped her off, right? At the fire hydrant. The yellow fire hydrant. Maybe she didn't know what to call it. Because it's right on this corner. And that's where they would have been dropped off, and they would have looked the opposite direction. Then he went up right, drove that direction. Yeah, I was almost afraid to get up like he was still there or something. I was afraid to turn back, to turn my head. I said, let me think for a minute. I just wanted to do everything the right way. I didn't want to panic, and holding on to my kids now. Still on my knees, and I said, okay, we can go back. Now I'm walking down Capitol Avenue towards the bank, and I'm going to get in my car and drive back to the house because I thought this guy is really a basket case about me calling the police. I was really scared about that. He said that he wasn't going to go to jail. Did he make any mention that he had been to jail before? No, but I sure got the impression because he was scared to death about me calling the police and him going to jail. I got that impression. Yeah, this lady should have maybe been a detective. How observant. I mean, very observant of stuff, you know, because he was in prison for 8 years before that. Let's see. I got that impression like he was there. I also got the impression because his face, you know, how warm it was this summer. We had a really nice summer. Wow, can you imagine? Look at this shit she noticed right here. She noticed, I guarantee she's about to say he didn't have a tan face. Look at, I also got the impression because his face, you know, how warm it was this summer. We had a really nice summer. We did in Illinois anyway, and I was out in the sun and I got a really nice tan. This guy was so white, even his hands, they were white hands. You know how you, and he had just got out of prison. Man. He'd never been outside all summer long, just pure white. Even his arms were white, like he hasn't been outside for a long time. And I think about those things. That's where I got the impression that maybe he was locked up somewhere. Oh man, she just nailed it. He didn't get outside much, right? Yeah, that's what she just said. No, I would certainly say that he didn't get outside much. So then I'm walking up Capitol Avenue, and I thought I would get in my car and I'll drive home, and then I'll call. She said her husband's name, and said that's my husband's name. And then I'll call the police. But then as I was walking, I'm thinking, oh my God, I wonder if he's there watching me. Wonder, is he somewhere watching me to see what I'm going to do? Because then I thought, if I get into my car, wonder if he would follow me to my house to find out where I live, because he said he was going to find out where I live in Battle Creek. So I'm thinking, maybe he see me somewhere and he's going to follow me back to my townhouse and he'll knows where I live. So I didn't want to get into my car then, and then I thought, well, there's a lot of people around and maybe we don't do nothing to me. He won't do nothing to me if I try and get into the bank. So I walked up there. I don't know how long it took me to walk. It seems like it took a lifetime to get to that bank. And I walked into the office, and then I had in my head that I was going to, what I was going to do. I remembered Sherry the week before. Sherry is an assistant manager there. Don't know her last name. I can't remember. She opened up my checking account. She was so nice to me, and a really nice person, real helpful. I thought I will go in and ask for her, and I will be real calm, and I'm not going to make a big commotion so that everyone else would be staring at me and wondering what the hell is going on and panicking. And I thought I would just be real quiet. And man, she just, let me see. Yeah, I'll just keep reading it. I need to use her phone. My basic thing was to go in the bank because there was a lot of people around, and because I could use the phone there. Sherry was not at her desk when I walked in. I walked in and there was people all around, and she was not at her desk. There was 2 men at the phones and 2 on her desk left, 2 at her desk left to her, and they were both on the phone. And I'm looking around for Sherry, and I said to the guy who was on the phone, and I pointed to her desk and asked if she here like that, asked, is she here like that? And he said, yeah. I said, I've got to talk to her, it's real important. She said that. I've got to talk to her, and I'm starting to panic, not screaming and yelling, but trembling. I'm shaking. You could hear my voice shaking really bad. He said, okay, and put the phone down, and he said, he'll be right here. And so I sat there, and it seemed like I sat there for about 5 minutes, and she came walking up from behind me. She said, oh, hi, Rhonda. I'm not sure why that's her name, so we don't know her last name. Rhonda's pretty common. I'm not sure why that's still in there, though. What can I do for you? I think she thought I was closing out my savings account because I told her my husband. I said, oh gosh, Sherry, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. And then I told her that I was robbed, and I was, yeah, well, they should have blacked that out. This is the document that he was given. Yeah, they shouldn't have the name in there, but you know, that's a pretty common name. So he goes on, dear God, oh my God, she took me by the hand. She said, there Anyway, she described what happened. Let's see. And that's when you called or called us. I called my husband and I talked to something before my husband, and then I kept telling the lady when I was talking to Sherry, I said, don't call the police because he is going to kill me. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Now I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to accidentally put her last name out there, or anything like that. Yeah, she's so nice. Anyways, at the end, she just says, let me get to this last part here. Did it look like it had been swept out to you or anything? Let's see. Was there anything back there that could indicate to you that he might carry this back of the truck? Carry in the back of his truck? It was just real scratched up. Just real scratched up. Yeah. Did it look like it had been swept out to you or anything? Yeah, it did. It was pretty clean, to be honest with you. Nothing was in there, just all the scratched up. There wasn't, there was not, like, no leaves. You know, leaves are falling now. You think if his truck was parked outside, he would have a lot of leaves in there, and there was nothing in there. You didn't see maybe like scrapes of metal? No. Wood chips or anything of that nature? No. And then he said, let me go stop the tape. I think we're just about everything we need. So there you go. Yep, so accidentally they didn't redact a name that I was reading, but yeah, at least it doesn't have the last name. Yeah, how about we don't, keep putting the name in there and reminding people. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, well, that's not. The guy that did it's dead. So. Yeah, the rapist is dead. He got killed within 2 days after that. Shot in the head. So. I think he was more on the run for. Well, I don't know. Anyways. That is it, everybody. Crazy story, right? Crazy. So, yep, everybody. I'm going to probably end the show here pretty soon, but if you'd like to help out the channel the month is getting right near the end here. Raising the funds. We're going to build up, we're going to have on tomorrow, Colleen's coming back on again. I think she'll end up, talk about where we're at, and then I think she was going to go over some genealogy, how it works. So I hope it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was pretty disturbing. It's weird too, right? It's like he was for lack of a better term, a gentle rapist. Physically, he was mentally a monster. In terms of, if you do this, I'm going to kill you. If you do this, I'm going to kill you. If you do this, I'm going to kill you. But then he was talking to her nicely. Hey, thanks, Sarah Ann. Appreciate it. Isn't that? It was I thought that part was strange. Yeah. Oh, it didn't show up on the screen? Let's see. I got a couple, Emily, and through PayPal but that's not your name on there. Somebody named Lori. So thank you. Well, there was 2 of them, so it makes me wonder. Is that the name? Emily? I don't know if I got the wrong. There's 2 of them. and I appreciate it. Thanks, Rita Schaefer. Okay, that's you. Okay. Well, thank you, Emily Flotilla. No, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, every amount helps. You know, that's the thing. Yeah, every amount helps. Yeah, and the thing is if it's something I've said it 100 times. If you can't afford it, I don't want you sending it in. Like if you can't eat food, you know, I'll survive. Okay, it's like part of my mission now is raising the funds so that we can keep doing charity. You know, I always feel like my show is going to do it, but sometimes I have to like say it out loud again because people go, oh yeah, because you know they get engrossed into the case and then. Right. So I don't know. Do you guys feel like that was pretty worth it? It was. I mean, we could see the whole how it all went down. She goes to this bank right here. Thank you, Mag. Very generous. She's at this bank here. I'll just recap it really quick. She was at this bank here with her 2 kids. She had just gotten into the bank, took out $50. Was sitting down, kind of writing down in her deposit, you know, checkbook. Just shut the door, hadn't locked the door or anything. Then he apparently drove up, got her out of the vehicle after putting a gun on her. She was like, "Well, I don't want to go. You know." Anyways, he said, "I'll kill you if you don't come," or something like that. So her and her 2 kids got out of their vehicle into his vehicle, and I think it was more like there was a different bank at the time. This building was not there back in '88. Then they got into his car together. They drove exactly this route right here, down Capitol, turned on Golden Avenue, went underneath Highway 66, right to where Pawnee Street is. Then he turned right and went into the woods and was bouncing around in the car, driving around. And this is, you know, even 1988, if you look at it, there's no houses there. So, not 1999, I mean, excuse me. So, he took her back there. The kids stayed in the car. He, you know, raped her. She describes him as sort of being gentle the whole time, even talked to her gently. I mean, it was really bizarre stuff. And then when they're done, they got back into his car. You know, she kept pleading for her safety and her kids' safety the whole time. Incredibly observant person. They got onto this road right here again in his truck. You know, the truck door doesn't shut very well. She almost fell out a couple times. And then he dropped them off at this corner right here near a yellow object, and there's a yellow fire hydrant right there. And then they didn't look at his car because he didn't want them to see his license plate. Then he drove off this direction. They walked this direction. And then they walked back to the bank and, you know, started making phone calls and whatnot. And he, however, probably drove right through that intersection and then went to his house, which is right there. Simple little drive, just, you know, like nothing had happened. So that's the short breakdown, but you can listen to the description of it. And I read the whole document, left out a little bit at the end there. So, all right. Well, that's it, everybody. Oh, and thank you to Jennifer. Thank you very much. Another PayPal, a cat eye donation. PayPal. Thank you very much. I'm not sure. I feel sort of weird at the end of this one, you know, like, I don't know. It was so descriptive that I feel like it was like a movie that in my mind you can actually see the whole damn thing, you know. Well, thanks. I felt really weird reading it, to be honest with you, but, you know, on this channel, it's sometimes we're looking at some really crappy things. Almost a lot of the times, actually. I just don't have to read it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. So tomorrow we're gonna have on Colleen Fitzpatrick. Probably gonna be a sort of an earlier, you know, like the 5 or the 6 o'clock range. Hey, thanks, Dana Dane. Yeah. Oh, thanks. I was kind of nervous about trying to read that in a way that wasn't crazy, you know. All right, everybody. So, you know what I'm gonna do tonight? I'm just gonna do the flyby. I feel kind of like doing something totally get my mind off of that one. We haven't done that in a long time. Just a hypnotic flyby or something right at the end. Yeah. Old school. Here we go. Alright, so make sure you guys maintain your social distancing, wash your hands, wear a mask. Apparently you gotta wear a double mask now. I would just get some N95s off of Amazon and wear those. You know, almost everybody has side effects from the second shot. So just know that you'll probably get side effects where your muscles are aching or feel sick, but it only goes for like a day or two. Then it stops on a dime. Like my dad, he's felt really sick. Then he woke up the next day, oh, totally normal. Same thing with Chris. Oh, good, you got the N95s, all right. Okay, so thank you, Emily Flotilla, for the PayPals and on here on a super chat. Thank you, and thank you, Sarita, Ashley, Zozo, Barbara Smith, Rita Schaefer again, Andrea Rogero Drum, Cat Eye donation, Linda Howell. Heidi became upgraded to Oogla Boogla. Mag, Patricia M. Then and I shaved my legs for this. Became a Megazoid. Jessica Schubach, Andrea Rogero Drum. Then Chad Bobinger upgraded to Megazoid. Then Sarah M. Rita Schaefer and Mag. And then Jennifer on PayPal. And then I just mentioned a minute ago the... Hold on one second. Oh yeah, and then also... Yeah, Mag also sent me... I think I mentioned it yesterday, but very generous PayPal yesterday. Definitely helps out quite a bit. So, thank you. All right, everybody, here we go. The old school flyby. I'm actually excited to do it for some reason. What was the music that I don't even remember. Oh yeah, Furious Freaks. There we go. Shut up, Mary Lou.
Okay, gee.
Wow! Look at that! It's the nebulae igloo lag lag ligaloo. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wait, was that Eglog glue 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 glue?
Hell, I don't remember now. It's a one-time thing, okay?
Okay, gee.
Well, thanks everybody for showing up tonight. I know the topic was pretty tough, but you know, it was interesting to sort of go through the whole thing that we heard about in a lesser amount last night. So it's just part of true crime, right? It's not all, you know, it's not sugar canes and lollipops, whatever the hell the term is. Candy canes. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you guys very much. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Colleen will be coming on. All right. So, as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2 and a 3. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Green is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I mean a very speaking with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've attempted to fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
All right, great. That was it.
Yeah, who cares? Hey, Mary Lou, take a night off, all right?
Gosh, Green, you're so mean.
Oh, boy. I think Mary Lou's turned into a computer. Be safe out there.